Hi everyone and welcome back. In my previous granny square tutorial video I showed you how to make this multicolored classic granny square, and I said I'd be doing another video on how to make solid color. So kind of like the center of this, it's two rounds of the same color. The process is almost identical, but instead of changing color after each round, you're just going to continue on with the same color. So the round change is just slightly different, but overall it's the same concept. So I recommend watching that video for tips and tricks on creating a granny square and keeping it square. So I'm going to be using this scrap purple yarn. I think, if I remember correctly, it is a big twist yarn in one of the grape or something like that. So on this granny square here, I started with a magic circle, and some people don't know how to do a magic circle. So for the solid colored granny square, I'm going to show you a different way to start, which is with a slip knot. So create your slip knot however you would do it. Put on your hook, you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to slip stitch to your first stitch. And I go in, when I do it this way, I go into the back bump of that stitch, and it's going to create this ring like this. You're going to be crocheting into the center of the ring, not the stitches. Okay, then just like before, you're going to chain 3, do your 2 double crochets right into the center, chain 2, and you're going to do that 3 more times. So 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, and chain 2, and then 3 double crochets, and 3, and chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. So I also crochet over my tail as I do this, but you don't have to. And chain 2, and then you're going to slip stitch to the top of your beginning, chain 3, making sure you go in the stitch. So here is the back. There's 1 loop around my hook on the back, and then there's the 2 loops from the front. And there we go. So this is what round 1 looks like. And again, same as this. And I apologize for the dark yarn. I know it is a little hard to see. So we have 4 and 4. So the reason I crochet over the tail is because you can pull that tail and it'll help cinch that center up a little bit. But as you can see, there is still a gap in the center, whereas with this one, it's nice and tight. That's why I prefer the magic circle over the chain 4. But that is totally up to you. So there are 2 ways to continue working around. The first way I'm going to show you is not really common, and it's basically you do 1 round on the right side, and then you're doing 1 round on the wrong side. I like doing this for solid colored granny squares because it gives you a texture to it for such a plain solid square, whereas you get the uniqueness with the colors on the multicolored one. But on the solid one, I like the texture that flipping each round gives, or turning each round gives me. So that's what I'm going to do for this first round. And then on the second round, or the third round, I'm sorry, for the second round, I'm going to show you this technique. And then on the third round, I will show you the other way you can do this. So I'm going to just chain 3, right here. And I'm going to flip my work over so the wrong side is facing me, and I leave my beginning tail so I know which side's my wrong side. And then I'm going to do 2 double crochets into this corner. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to do 3 double crochets. And normally I like my slip stitch to be in this chain, but because we're starting with a chain 3 over here, you are going to work this first corner completely. Chain 1, and then your next corner, the 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. And like I said, just like the classic granny square, the multicolored one, and then chain 1. It's the same pattern. The only difference here is we're not cutting our yarn after each round. So if you haven't watched that first video, I will link it in the description below on this video so that you can watch that. I go really in depth on that video as far as how to do a classic granny square. Okay, so I've worked all the way around. I'm back to the beginning. I'm going to find the top of my chain 3, which is right here, and it's going to be a little more difficult to work into this chain 3 because we turned after we created it. All right, so there is my second round. I have the 2 on each side, and I'm starting right here in the middle. Now, if I were going to continue this way, what I would do is do my chain 3, turn it over, and as you can see, it creates, maybe you can see, it creates this raised texture. So if you flip it after each round, you're going to get that kind of texture. The second way to do this, instead, if you don't want that texture, you'll just slip stitch to your next chain space. So in my case, this is going to be a corner. I'm going to slip stitch over 3 stitches to my corner, and I'm going to slip stitch in my corner, so I'm actually working in the corner. I'm going to chain 3 and then do my 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then 3 double crochet, chain 1, do my cluster. Sorry, I have really bad allergies today. Do my single cluster into the single chain 1, my next corner, and so on. So you'll just continue just like the classic granny square multicolored one. The stitch counts are all still the same. You just continue working your way around and making sure you're doing 2 clusters with a chain 2 in between in the corners, and then you're chaining 1 after each cluster along the side and in between the corners. All right, almost around, chain 2. And I really love making granny squares. They are so relaxing to me. There's something I can make without really like looking or paying attention because I've made so many of them in my life. I love the way they look, and the color combinations are literally endless on granny squares. All right, so pull that tight, And as you can see, doing it that way, I don't have the texture that I have on this round right here. So you can do that either way you want. And I'm gonna cut this, and there we go. So this would be the wrong side of the first round, but it is the right side for these 2 rounds. And you can kind of alternate it however you want. And as you can see, these are, I use the same hook, worsted weight yarn. They're roughly the same size. So you can mix and match your granny squares. You can have some colored ones and some solid ones if you're doing a blanket or anything like that. And I think the next video I'm gonna do is going to be shapes with the granny squares. Granny square or a square is not the only shape you can create doing this. I've seen and created triangles, pentagons, hexagons. So I will go over kind of how to do that in the next video or one of the next videos. And I will also, actually, I think the next video might be a joining video. I get a lot of questions about how to join granny squares as well. And it's really easy. I have a couple of different techniques that I use depending on what I'm going for. So I think that might be the next one. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Like I said in the previous video, I have my notifications turned on, so I do see all the comments. And thank you for watching. Bye.